Senator from the 42nd is recognized to speak to amendment number 2.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate colleagues, I'll be as brief as possible. This amendment is straightforward, as Senator Ford mentioned, and I know that I'll encourage him to support my amendment, but I recognize his beliefs and his passion. This amendment addresses the police powers that are enshrined in this new bill. HB87, the current bill, creates 2 new police powers that makes illegal the harboring and transportation of an illegal immigrant, and it allows for curbside, in essence, or for law enforcement officers to check into immigration status of certain individuals who are suspected or have probable cause to believe have committed another criminal offense. What this amendment does with regard to both of those powers is it defines that other criminal offense as a felony under the state or federal criminal law, and it says it will not include a violation of any county, municipal law, regulation, or ordinance. The goal of this is to mitigate the police state aspects of this bill. Under this bill as currently drafted, there is no doubt that there will be legal American citizens like you and me who get caught up in this net that we are casting. And there is no doubt that when that occurs, that we can fix that unintended consequence of this bill and still pass immigration reform that folks can go home and talk about, that secures the jobs, that does the other things that folks need to think that they need to do. Nobody wants to create the kind of police powers that this bill creates. This bill allows the immigration status to be checked and encourages the checking of immigration status for any person under any criminal offense, which would include having a broken tail light, having an obstructed license tag, which means, by the way, we had testimony at one of our hearings that if you've got a ball hitch on your truck, there are certain ones that the bumper is designed to put the license tag behind the hitch. And if you've got that hitch there, you can be pulled over for an obstructed license tag and then be subject to the police powers defined in this law. Another example is if you are driving kids from your soccer practice back to school or from a school-sanctioned event, and one of those children is illegal and you don't know it, and you cross a double yellow line or you roll through a stop sign or anything like that, you can be guilty of harboring and transporting an illegal immigrant. That's not the intent of the bill. I don't think that's anybody's intent in this room. And so what this amendment does is it says those aspects of this bill only apply to people who are committing felonies or who are suspected of committing felonies. So if you've got a gang member from Sur 13, a Salvadoran gang in Atlanta or in DeKalb County, it's an issue where I am, and they're fleeing an aggravated assault or they're suspected of fleeing that, then this is who we want to get. Those are the people who we all agree need to be dealt with. And that's what this amendment will allow us to do. The other thing this amendment does, these police powers and the risk of a police state, as Senator Ford has mentioned, is very troubling to a host of people, including the business community, including a host of folks who are trying to bring new business to our state, conventions to our state, tourism to our state, international investment to our state. We've had instances where people have, we want to be as welcoming as we can be. And this bill will go a long way towards dealing with the legitimate concerns of many legal Latinos and others who are concerned that creating a police state is the wrong thing to do. So I would, and I know that there are others, including Senator Stoner, Senator from the 6th, who is, the Senator from the 6th, who is, has co-sponsored this bill, or this amendment, to speak to the business impact. But this is a good way to assuage some of those fears, the legitimate fears in the business community. The chambers of commerce and around the state are concerned with the reputational impact that this bill will have on our state. And you cannot undo that. Once you have decided that you're going to create a police state that impacts legal Latinos, legal folks of all colors and of all ethnicities that can be caught up in this, you can't go back. And that's a point on which Senator Fort and I agree. Senator from the 39th, I haven't learned enough. Excuse me, Senator from the 39th. This is a good way to conclude, to deal with the very legitimate concerns, to put some distance between our great state and other states that have made the mistake of passing laws that have gone too far and have impacted too many legal, hardworking American citizens and who will never be able to take back that statement. We can avoid that statement, we can target the criminals who deserve to be targeted, and everyone can go home and be tough on immigration and do the other things that they want to do in a way that makes sense. I look for your support. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them now, or I'll be happy to answer them sitting at my desk as a senator from the 42nd.
You have several questions. Senator from the 40th is recognized for a question.
Does the senator yield?
Yes.
Senator, is it not true that I agree with you that I think the intent of this legislation is that we want to make sure that we basically deport people that are criminals and we're not after the other folks? Is that not true?
Yes, it is.
All right. My question to you, as I read from line 289 and go down to 292, you're guilty of the offense of transporting or moving an illegal alien, which that's the offense, only if you're committing another criminal offense and knowingly and intentionally transport a person.
That is correct.
So I understand that part. If I go to C, the person convicted for a first offense of transporting and moving illegal, it becomes a misdemeanor. And you and I have spoken on this, but in reading this, that would not apply to the housewife driving the maid down to the bus stop to get stopped because she didn't knowingly and intentionally transport an alien, okay, and commit another crime. So I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think that applies to the housewife taking the maid down to the bus stop to get stopped for going across the yellow line.
If she is committing another criminal offense and she was knowingly transporting an illegal alien, whether she knows that person is illegal is a question that I can't answer. But if she's committing, without this amendment, a simple traffic offense will trigger this.
Would you further yield?
Yes.
But that particular person, the housewife, has to knowingly and intentionally know that that person's an illegal alien for that to be triggered.
I can't answer that.
I mean, is that not how that reads in line 289?
I could read that to say that you knowingly and intentionally transport or move that person. Whether you have to know that that person is illegal is another question. I don't know. And in my view, we are either going to put that on the backs of law enforcement to arrest this person and say that that is the kind of person we're trying to get, and then you can prove in court that you didn't know the person was illegal, or we can limit this to instances where the other crime is a felony, which is what we're trying to do.
One final question.
I'll yield.
And the bottom line is what your amendment's trying to do, when it's all said and done, and whatever this particular language means, is there's got to be a felony committed before this would kick in with any penalties against a citizen.
That is true with regard to this section 7, harboring and transporting.
Right.
The felony must be committed.
Right.
With regard to the other section, the felony must be suspected or with probable cause.
Right, probable cause. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Senator.